everybody, John Huber here with part 2 of my little series on special education. If you haven't seen the first one, please check it out, and gives you a little bit of the overview of the history of where we started from, where we are now, and it provides a little foundation for some of the videos going forward. Anyway, let's talk about real briefly who is eligible for special education. When we say special education, what are we talking about? Who? You talking about kids who are just a little slower than others? You talking about kids who physical handicaps? You talking about emotional handicaps? Who qualifies for this special education? Who qualifies for these unique individual services? Well, the government, under IDEA, and prior to that, 75 was the 94-142. If you don't know what that is, go back and look at my first video and you'll learn all about it. Essentially, there are 12, 13, 14 specific categories of disabilities that the feds have lined up, and they said these are the people who qualify for these services. Now, keep in mind, some of these disabilities have varying degrees of the disability. The question is it to a degree that it affects the student's education? Does it hinder his or her learning? If it drastically affects or even mildly affects the learning, then yes, that child is eligible for services. So here they are, and anyone in education already knows all this stuff. The first one is O1. They have these O1, O2, O3, etc. O1 is basically an intellectual disability. These are students with Down syndrome, that sort of thing. And these are wonderful, beautiful children. And they are protected. They are included under the IDEA. And then there's O2, which is students who are hearing impaired. O3 is students who are deaf. O4 are students who have speech and language impairment. O5 are students who are visually impaired. So I think you could generally believe that everywhere out there we're talking to so far, 1 through 5, there's no question we need to educate these students. They can benefit from special education services, and society can benefit from educating these students. But the next one, 06, and to all my teacher friends out there, when you hear 06, that's where it starts getting a little, 06 is emotionally disturbed. I'm going to do a whole nother video specifically on emotionally disturbed. But for the sake of this, IDEA says if a student's emotional disability is severe enough that it affects his or her learning, then he or she can get specific services, for this disability. 07 is orthopedic. 08 is another big one, because it's other health impaired. Now, under other health impaired, you have people who have like diabetes, asthma, leukemia, these sort of physical conditions, or these, whatnot, that are to such a degree that it hampers their education. But the big one under 08, ADD, ADHD. Students who have ADD and ADHD, to the extent that it affects their education, can be qualified for special education under 08. 09 is a specific learning disability. These are things like dyslexia, dysgraphia, processing deficit. 10 are multiple. If you have more than one, or if a student has more than one or multiple. 11 is deafness and blindness. I think, and I'm not exactly sure, I'm no expert on this, I think it's like if you're deaf and blind is a very special code for 11. And then I've seen some go 12, 13, 14, some go 11 to 13. I don't quite understand. I'm trying to figure that out. But anyway, the next one is either 12 or 13, depending on how you look at it, is TBI, traumatic brain injury. These are, self-explanatory, students who've had some type of traumatic brain injury, and that's causing a learning problem. 14 is autism, and 15 is developmental delay. So those are the disabilities that are recognized by IDEA. And if you have a child that has any one of these, then you are entitled to special education services. Doesn't mean automatically. You could have a student, you could say, well, my kid has an ADHD. He needs an IEP. Not exactly. Maybe. but that's another video. So anyway, I hope this clarifies as who qualifies for special education. Anyone with any of these conditions certainly qualifies for special education. Anyway, I hope this helps. Watch the rest of my videos because it's going to start really getting interesting from here on out. Thanks. Have a great day.